welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It's a Monday, so I want to quickly say that I hope everybody's week is off to a good start. Today is going to be our weekly Braves review. Now, if you've been keeping up with the Braves this year, you know that so far this year, the only thing about the Braves that's been consistent is their inconsistency. And I read on Friday, before they kicked off their weekend series with the Brewers, that since the All-Star break, the Braves had played 14 games, and they had won 7 and lost 7. And they had alternated wins and losses ever since the All-Star break. And that trend continued over the weekend because they lost Friday, won Saturday, and lost Sunday. So since the All-Star break, the Braves have won 8 games and lost 9 games, and they have alternated wins and losses every single game on every single day since the All-Star break. And that is about as average and as mediocre as you can get. Now, the good thing for the Braves is right now the Mets are struggling big time. They lost 2 of 3 over the weekend to the Cincinnati Reds. So the Braves right now stand 52 wins and 54 losses, 2 games below 500, but they're only 4 games out in the division. And if the Braves are ever going to make up ground, this is when they're going to do it, because they're off today, and then they kick off a 3-game series with the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium starting tomorrow night at 8:15 Eastern, 7:15 Central. Now, of course, we know the Cardinals just made a trade on Friday, the last day of the trade deadline, when they picked up Nationals pitcher Jon Lester. So he is definitely an upgrade to their rotation. Although he is no longer the pitcher he used to be, he's still better than most of the starting pitchers currently on the St. Louis Cardinals roster. And after the Cardinals, they play the Nationals. But coming up here in the next couple of weeks, they've got another series with the Nationals. They've got a series with the Marlins, and they've also got a series with the Orioles, who are just flat out awful. So if the Braves can't make up ground here in the next 2.5 weeks, and I think it's safe to say they're not going to. Now, of course, if you have not heard the news, Jacob deGrom has been shut down for at least 2 more weeks. He was originally shut down for a week, then another week, and now it's 2 weeks because he is not progressing so far with the discomfort he is feeling in his right arm. Now, the Braves have Travis d'Arnaud and Huascar Ynoa, who are both supposed to start a rehab assignment this week with the AAA Gwinnett Stripers. Now, of course, Huascar Ynoa was actually in the rotation earlier this year, and he was the Braves' best starting pitcher when he hurt himself. And that's why I say when he hurt himself and not when he got hurt, because he didn't get hurt, he hurt himself. And it looked like originally he would come back and be in the rotation. But now Max Fried is finally getting better, and Charlie Morton has been consistent all year long. Drew Smyly's pitching good right now. Kyle Muller has been exceptional so far in his few starts, and Ian Anderson is just about ready to come back. So whenever Huascar Ynoa gets back on the Major League roster, he may be in the Braves bullpen for the rest of the year, which would help out tremendously. But the bullpen has been a lot better over the last week or week and a half, and I'm just ready for Travis d'Arnaud to come back, because none of the Braves catchers have been able to hit consistently all year long. When they went out and got Stephen Vogt from the Diamondbacks. He was the 7th different catcher the Braves have used this year, and with the exception of d'Arnaud before he got hurt, a total of none of the catchers have been able to hit. Now, of course, Jonathan Lucroy only played like 3 games before the Braves released him, but as old as he is, he wouldn't have hit either. The Braves also released Ender Inciarte. I believe it was on Thursday. It looked like he was going to accept an assignment with AAA, but then he decided he no longer wanted to be a minor league player. He wants to be on a major league roster, so maybe Ender Inciarte will get signed by somebody coming up here in the next few days. Austin Riley had 4 home runs last week. He is tearing the cover off the ball right now. Let's just hope that continues. Dansby Swanson had 2 home runs and 7 RBIs in the game on Saturday. Now, Dansby Swanson has never hit for average. He's always been a 240, 245 hitter, but he's always had power. But he's had more power than usual this year. He's on pace right now for 25-plus home runs and around 75 RBIs, which is good for him because his actual contract with the Braves, if I'm not mistaken, expires at the end of next year. And if I'm correct, I'm anxious to see what the Braves will do with him because he has never been the number 1 player out of college, which is where he got drafted by the Diamondbacks. And I think the Diamondbacks knew that, and that's why they were willing to trade him so quickly. They realized pretty quickly that he was not going to be what he was supposed to be. But it's also hard to find a shortstop who can hit and play good defense. So the Braves may bring him back just because of that. But I'll say that I think next year if Dansby Swanson only hits 240, 245, which is what he's done most of his career, that next year will be the last year you see Dansby Swanson in a Braves uniform unless he's willing to sign a short-term deal or a deal not making much money. But most players nowadays, when they sign deals, they want long-term deals making a lot of money. And with Dansby Swanson being an average defensive shortstop and an average hitting shortstop, there's no way if I was the Braves I'd pay him $25, $30 million a year because he's just not worth it. But let's hope the Braves can gain some ground coming up here in the next couple of weeks, especially with the Mets still not having Jacob deGrom for the foreseeable future. But there are only 4 games out, so I still say they catch the Mets. Now, Jorge Soler got his first start with the Braves yesterday, and he had a few hits, but I know that's not going to continue, but hopefully he can continue hitting the ball anyway. And Adam Duvall, of course, he just now got back, but he's looked good so far. Eddie Rosario is still on the injured list. So the Braves outfield looks completely different right now than it did at the beginning of the season. But I do like the additions of Duvall and Soler and Rosario when he comes back better than I do Almonte and Adrianza and Pache and Heredia and Inciarte and any other player that's played outfield so far this year for the Braves. So if you have any thoughts on the Braves, please feel free to let me know in the comment section on what you think. I still say the Braves win the division. I know they haven't been great, but the Mets have made no effort and no attempt to put any ground between themselves and the Phillies or themselves and the Braves. And the Mets almost every single year have a loaded roster talent-wise, but for whatever reason, they're just never able to put it away and win the division. So until they prove to me that they can do that, then to me the division comes down to the Braves or the Phillies, and I just do not trust the Phillies. So because of that, I'm still going to say the Braves win the division. But before we get out of here for the day, just let me say that my son bought me a new reversible jacket, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. And that is your dad joke of the day. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of three. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.